Hey guys, um, well, it was a great draft. Thanks for all coming, and it was good having you over. And it's I can't believe it's year seven. Year seven. It's been a great 6 years, and I think we're making strides, making strides. So I think the changes we made today, category wise, and our vision, our direction moving forward, I think is more clear. And really bringing us together and developing this league in any way possible. So here's the 2015 previews. It's always very hard to do this, as you know, because we're all getting better. And with baseball, it comes down to a lot of day to day managerial tactics. How do you make adjustments on a daily basis? That's the hardest part. And which and you'll see the teams that you got now going to be nothing like what you have at the end. So I'm going to kind of go in and see, and I'm going to talk about each team, and then I'm going to put them in order so we don't have the 10 9 8. I'm going to talk about each one. Just going to randomly going to start with Frank. Frank, it's good having him back. I think looking at his team, he's going to really have to rely on King Felix for most of his pitching production. I offensively, I really like Santana, Freeman, and McCutcheon. They are just OBP monsters. They're machines. And he's got a lot of flexible options, guys that you can kind of plug in wherever you want. Zimmerman's like a third base outfield, stuff like that. I think he had a pretty decent draft overall. I didn't see anything flashy, but that's Frank is always consistent. He's always solid. All right, Andrew. He's got a lot of speed in that lineup, and I think as a whole, the offense has potential. And the bullpen is really solid too. He's got. Take a quick look here. Come on. Which one is it? Oh, that's right. Little guy, big hits. Yeah, I mean, so say, I mean, Altuve is a speed monster. Gomez is a speed monster. But I really love the bullpen. Papelbon, Benoit, and Rondon. It is a very questionable rotation, though. Phil Hughes is the ace. Andrews never really bought into having a great starting rotation, but I think that's going to be the big question. It hurt him last year, and that was ultimately his downfall. But otherwise, it's a really good team. Okay, me. Obviously, so the most A's and Dodgers that I've ever had, former or current, on one roster. I think my rotation is extremely solid. Kershaw, Cashmere, Kluber, Kenley. The probably I do have a lot of injured closers, but they'll be back, and when they're healthy, they're good. I also have a lot of depth in the middle and the corners, which bodes well for trades. My offense needs a little work, but I made a lot of moves, so it's understandable. Okay, talking about Drew. Drew had one of the best keepers selections in the league, keeping seven all stars essentially. Very balanced staff. A lot of high K per nine guys. He does this all the time. Gets these relievers, these setup men that get a lot of punch outs. He has a few aces too, so that bodes well, especially when he's got a lineup with some pop and some speed. I don't like the guys individually per se, but I think collectively they'll do a pretty good job. And Drew's proven himself as a manager. I think he's gonna have a good season. Okay, Ramirez is not my favorite rotation. He had a lot of picks to work with, a lot, and he has in the past couple of years. And it's just a matter of how does he deal with them. But it's not my favorite rotation. I think it needs more bullpen and more quality rather than quantity in the rotation. I think the offense is contingent on Harper coming back, Big Poppy staying at the level that he's at, and Shinsu Chu kind of turning it around. He had a down year last year. Ramirez is going to give him another shot. Also has guys with high OBP that get extra base hits, so that helps. That helps. Going to Braden and Rich, I think they have good pitching, but they need a bit more insurance. Shields, Wainwright, Weaver, Kane, they're getting up there. Kind of overworked in the past. And they didn't really fill out the rotation. There's 2 open spots on there where and that could be just via auto pick malfunction on our end, but they definitely emphasize the offense. So they have depth there. Nothing that jumps out, but they have depth. I really question the Moncada pick. I don't envision him making the bigs this season, which would suck just to waste a roster spot on that. We'll see how that goes. Again, a lot of picks to work with, and we'll see if they learn from last year. Okay, Scoops. Well, he's got speed everywhere, up and down the lineup. 3 reliable closers. I mean, Uhara, Robertson being 2 of them. And it's quality start central. 8 guys with 20 plus projected quality starts. And if that turns out to be the way it is, the pitching is going to be good every week. And he's got a really solid outfield, especially if Jock Pederson pans out. He could be a 2020 guy. If that happens, along with Adam Jones, Michael Brantley, this could be a good team. Moving to Michael, probably the best starting 4 pitchers that you can find. That's from his keepers: Scherzer, Sale, Zimmerman. Scherzer, Sale, Zimmerman, Lester. So I think there's good potential there, but the options on offense are really few and far in between, other than Goldschmidt and Fielder. There's just no guys that jump out at me. I think Chris Carter it could be an impact with the power, and now that Ks are not a factor, it could be a much better option. So, question marks offensively. Now Dudek, is Billy Hamilton is a speedy guy, and that's going to help him with that stolen base category. His power guys are dispersed up and down the lineup. There's really no weak end on that part. Votto's an OBP jugger. This guy is a 4.44 OBP projection, and that could be huge, which we may have overlooked. So Votto needs to have a turnaround season. He's really struggled, injuries and whatnot. So this could be a big year for him. Dudek, also Holland and Kimbrel in the pen. Those are the 2 best closers in the league. And Fernandez could return mid-season. And if he comes back to original form, I mean, with Price and Strasburg leading his staff, I worry. Dudek could have a really good squad. Regardless of what you think of the draft, he could really have a good team. And then the last one here is Eric. Elite keepers. Obviously, when you have Giancarlo, Reyes, Trout, Troy, Greinke, it's good. It's good. Power and speed, a lot of those types of guys across the board. And with a good bullpen, I think he has a good bullpen. The rotation is very average in my opinion, and that's just personal. But could be a juggernaut. Could be a juggernaut, do a lot of damage offensively. So here's Andrew Thayer making an appearance in our preview video. Okay, so here's my predictions from 10 to 1. So he's giving me the finger already. He knows what's going to happen. Number 10, it's Michael. there's really no. There's Andrew's doing the fist pump. He's not last. It doesn't matter what Michael does until I see an added effort and you know commitment to the league. I don't think he's going to finish better than 10 because everyone else is getting better and he's kind of just leaving in the dust. Number 9. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to say Braden and Rich. It just seemed that there was a lot of confusion during the draft. Didn't know who was doing what. Disagreement and confusion with the relay, with communication, could be an issue. So for right now, I'm gonna have to say number 9. 8, it's Ramirez. Unfortunately, again, a lot of picks. He's gonna have to do a lot of proving. Matt hasn't had a winning season in baseball, and I think it's now his 4th year. Will be his 4th year. He's got to do something. He knows the ropes. Now he's got to make something happen. Number 7, I'm gonna have to say Frank, which pains me because I think Frank always has one of the better drafts, but he has a hard time day to day. Maybe adding a guy here and there sometimes, and that could be an issue. Number 6, he's giving me the finger. Is Mr. Thayer. I mentioned the rotation being one of the concerns. I think that's ultimately his downfall here. But I think it's a good 6th place. I think we're going to have one of those problems where we got 6 winning teams like we did last year. In 5th, I'm going to put Mr. Scoops. He's going to build off of that 6th place finish. I think he finishes 5th this year. I like the potential on the roster, and then this year could be really his year for growth. And 4th, I'm gonna say Dudek. I told you he's the guy. The guy's loaded. And he's experienced, 3-time champ. You can never underestimate him. Number 3, I'm gonna say Paz. I didn't really like his draft at all. I really didn't. But he's going to have a good season. And I just know it. His keepers are great. His lineup up and down statistically looks good. And he's a manager. We know he's a good manager, trying to get back to that championship match. And number 2 is Mr. Yi. Showed you offensive juggernaut. And I think this guy could rip off maybe 15, 16 wins this year. And then number 1, being the reigning champ, I get the preseason number 1 pick in the poll. I don't see my team as the strongest, but I think I can pull some moves to make it number 1 once again. So that's what I have. Sorry to piss a couple of you off, but baseball is tough. You got to check every day. You got to be on it every day. Watch games. Get your MLB at Bat app that I'm not getting, but some of you might need it. So, yeah. Any comments are welcome.
Yeah, one comment right now.
Oh, here we go.
What were your predictions for last year's basketball season?
Andrew, these are predictions. They're not. They shouldn't be taken.
I want to know how accurate.
They shouldn't be taken seriously. This is just the way it is. It's hard to predict these things. So,
Did you put yourself as first?
they're typically no.
Yeah,
I picked Drew number 1. You can't. These things are very hard to predict. Anything can happen. It's fantasy. It's Joe Random's fantasy baseball. All right. You guys have a good one.